Hello and welcome to the Investing Bros. You're tuned into the first live crypto news show of the trading day. I am live weekdays at 9 a.m. Whether you're just rolling out of bed, maybe you're grabbing lunch in Europe, or maybe you're actually tucking the kids to bed at night over in Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Things are looking pretty bearish on the charts. Let's go ahead and take a look at them here. I've got them pulled up, and I want to show you exactly kind of what I'm taking a look at here. Got a couple of things, a couple of surprises that I want to hide for. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, Bitcoin has closed daily charts below that 41,200 level. It's the first time yesterday that we've had daily candlesticks close below that level. We've had wicks, certainly, but now we are starting to see some loss of strength from the bulls. All right, they gobbled it up here. They couldn't get enough of it back here. Fully energized. Oh yeah, let's buy. Did the same thing around here, right? Okay. Same thing here as well on January 3rd. And then right here was the latest episode of bulls gobble up below 41,200, right? But then the plot took a twist. Okay, and bears took control, and that is shown here by the Ichimoku indicator, showing that the bears, it's definitely far from the bearish zone down here, but it has crossed the zero line here on the Ichimoku, which indicates that bears are pulling control. They're not gaining control quite yet, but the bulls are losing control. It's a good way to think about it. Okay, that is starting to print candlesticks down below that key level. Okay, but the question of the day is, where's the bottom? Okay, where is the bottom going to come in here, and where should you buy again? Right, and I do have an opinion on that. I'm going to share that opinion. What I will say is that Bitcoin is a good crypto to buy here on this dip, but there's other altcoins that are also similarly positioned to do very well in the bull market, and those are worth your consideration as well. I'll discuss some of those. But before I do, I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you guys. You guys are in for an absolute treat in this episode, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the levels that I'm looking to buy at, okay, which is kind of the question everybody's asking. And then I'm going to show you some bullish news, right? And then we're going to get into some harder hitting news, right? And then we'll finish it off with a funny clip that I think you're going to really enjoy. So stay tuned with me. I'm T Shroom, and I really do appreciate you tuning in. I'm at T Shroom on Twitter as well. We're going to rock out here till 9:30, so let's do it. Come along with me on this fun little journey. All right, so the levels that I'm taking a look at really shouldn't surprise you. We've been talking about it here on the Investing Bros channel for a while. But the deepest one, I'm going to go ahead and do the deepest one first. That is going to be 35,500, right? And why do I do that? This really should be a block. It really should be a rectangle, but I went ahead and made it a line, right? Just because it's a level that I want folks to be paying attention to. Why? Because we found support back here in November and mid-November. We found it in closing in on late November, right? And also was resistance back here on November 2nd. And so what is it? What do those terms mean, T Shroom? I don't know what resistance, I don't know what support is. Well, that would indicate that you are very new to the space. And I will say, if you don't know what support and resistance means, that's okay. But I will also say that this is a very volatile time in crypto. It's a very scary time. A lot of emotions are high. Okay, this might be a time to sit on the sidelines. If you have zero exposure to Bitcoin, might be a good time to scoop up some Bitcoin in the next 2 weeks, starting today. But if you don't know what support and resistance lines, I'll tell you. Resistance line is when price resists pushing through, right? You see here, there were wicks that pushed through here, but it could not get a candle body close. These are candle bodies. Couldn't get a close through there. Okay, so that's classic resistance. Over here, Bitcoin eventually did push through, and here confirmed it as support. Confirmed this line of 35.5 as support. And this is very common in trading, any kind of charts. When it's flipped, That is the resistance into support. And now price says, hey, this is where I like to come down and test. This is where buyers really won't let me go much lower, right? And so it's called support, right? That I think is going to be a pretty good bounce spot. But I have one that's actually a little higher, and that's going to be this one here. We're closing in on it. We might even tickle it today at 37,900, right? So just under 38,000. But I've put it there at that specific price, 37,900, because there's always going to be overselling, right? There's always going to be overselling and overbuying, especially in crypto. But you can see here, this is a good place where there is lots of. Back here, there was lots of resistance, right? And we have not confirmed this really as support. We probably did on like the 1 hour. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see. So going back here, we have to go back a ways. The 1 hour candlesticks covers a lot more data, and I'm going to have to zoom out and then, okay, so you can kind of see here, yeah, there wasn't a ton of confirmation, even on the 1 hour. There was a little bit of confirmation here, but it actually traded below that level. So what does this mean? It means that this could be just as low as we go, guys, because we haven't really confirmed that level quite yet, and all Bitcoin may be looking for is just a confirmation of that level. Whoa, I really zoomed out. Oh, the charts. So these are my levels. Everybody's asking, where should I buy? Where are going to be the levels? Those are the levels: 35,005 and 37,009. Just giving it to you straight. No kind of messing around or leading you down any kind of crazy roads. This is just the way that I'm looking at it. Now, this is very crude, right? These are very crude levels. I haven't drawn any Fibonacci's, right? I haven't even taken off this regression trend that's been broken that I should take off, right? I'm not doing the most sophisticated technical analysis here. I'm just doing very simple technical analysis. And what I will say is these are not going to be the exact bottoms because I'm not doing a lot of triangulation. I'm not doing a lot of data-driven analysis here. This is just very simple support and resistance. If you're looking for much more in-depth technical analysis, then stay tuned for a show that comes on at 9:30. That is Piper Academy, and hopefully someone from Piper Academy will drop a link. Crux, I see you're in the chat. Maybe somebody can drop a link to that live show. It'd be much more in depth, right? But then also my partner Tim has dropped a video this morning. Now that video is not on Bitcoin. It's actually on Solana, but you can go watch that on our channel. And I mentioned that there are coins that are actually pretty good buys and that will outperform Bitcoin by many smart analysts' estimates. Solana is absolutely one of those coins. So go ahead and check out that video. It dropped just 40 minutes ago. You can go check it out. And Tim, my partner here, we are live every single day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Together we do a show, but he'll drop that video in the morning at 8:30, and you can watch it for yourself. Crux of Crypto saying he's got me, bro. So that's good. He's got me. He's going to drop that link in there for you guys probably closer to the end of the show or sometime soon. Speaking of the chat, let's go ahead and see. Joe Nickel was first. Joe Nickel said, whoa, sale day, everyone. Feels like when Christmas shopping season starts. Yeah, prices might go lower, but I'm going to get a little shopping in now. Absolutely. So today is not a bad time to go shopping for Bitcoin, right? What does that mean? If you're new to crypto, which many of you may be, there's kind of this weird fallacy that folks love to go in and get bagels, buy one, get one free. They love to get bananas, right, when they're on sale. They love to buy, your favorite Lay's chips, right, when they're on discount. But when you look at the equities market and you look at asset markets, people run away when the price is on discount. Right, so this is literally a discount from this consolidation right here. This was a period right here where price was consolidated and price was agreeing. The market was agreeing that Bitcoin should be valued at 42,000. Now that was just weeks ago. Okay, now it's on discount compared to that agreement, compared to that consensus of what the price should be. Okay, and if you scale all the way out, which if you haven't done this yet and you're new to crypto, this is something you need to do very often, which is zoom out. You can see here that, yes, today we are on discount relative to last week's pricing, okay, but we're actually extremely high, right? Price has ascended. The price of this asset, of Bitcoin, has gone up precipitously, okay? Since this consolidation back here, right, the market agreeing that price should be around 8,500, would you have bought then? Or this period of consolidation, we have been on discount for a long time, right? So just because we're on discount now doesn't mean we can't go more into discount. So it's one way to think about it. It's one way to look at it. It's definitely one of the ways that I look at it, and hopefully that has helped some folks kind of get, especially newer folks, get their head around this whole cryptocurrency asset world. Well, that's Bitcoin. A couple other assets have sold off as well. In fact, the majority of the what are called altcoins are down pretty bad. Okay. Now, you could also say they're on discount. It's not rocket science, guys, here. It applies all across the board. Now, Solana is kind of front-running, and it's kind of getting to those levels that I just showed you on Bitcoin, right? So the levels here, right, where there is this a lot of resistance testing here from the price action structure, you can kind of see that price action structure here is similar with Solana. This was going on in mid-December. This was going on in mid-November, right? So they took place at different times, but as you can see, that is being tested right now for Solana. If we get a pretty strong bounce on this could be a canary in the coal mine. The market may interpret that as, okay, this is the level, crypto's not going lower, right? But that's only one altcoin. Okay, we're seeing something similar with AVAX. Now, this consolidation and resistance testing here, that was much more short-lived, and that also happened back in December, okay? There was some similar resistance testing here back in November, when Bitcoin was doing it, but this was much lower than this resistance. So it's a different asset. It has a different price structure, but you can still kind of pull out similar conclusions. Optimism chain has not gotten down yet to those resistance levels. Okay, so it's kind of, you could make an argument that it's more bullish, right? Because the diamond hands are stronger in this asset, this layer 2 of Ethereum. Let's keep kind of scrolling around here. Quant, I know, is a favorite. Now, the Quant has a very different price structure. We're kind of zooming through here, going pretty fast. Hopefully, you're able to stay with me, and we are going to get into the news here in just a second. Quant, this looks very different. This almost looks like a pretty big head and shoulders. So I'd be careful with this one, guys. Here, holding. However, that this price structure is very different. What I'm trying to show you is that each asset is different, but some of these altcoins are actually looking pretty darn good as buys relative to Bitcoin. Okay, now an asset that has really stayed strong is Tron. I've noticed Tron now has been pretty much a stable coin since November 10th and has been able to push up around January 12th. Let me know in the comments what happened around that time, around January 12th, that may have pushed Tron to the upside. I want to know if you know. I certainly know, but I want to know if you know. Okay, so meme coins also getting a pretty heavy shed, but what I'll notice about these meme coins is they're not in double digits of loss. Very interesting. Doge and SNEC actually leading, kind of trailing the market lower. So, guys, I'm very calm. What T-shirt? You're watching this. You're saying, T-shirt, you seem so calm. You seem like you're not afraid right now, and yet we're seeing huge sell-offs in the crypto market. Well, I've seen this again and again and again. Right? We've seen this before. Here's Ethereum. I haven't shown this chart yet. Right? This is a very scary-looking sell-off. Right? It's down below this resistance testing that happened in December. Same as Bitcoin. Right? It broke down below that. Okay. Now, this is pretty scary for Ethereum, because once it gets down past here at 2,150, you could call it, there's not a lot of support, and it could go ahead and get punished and fall back through. Now, there is some support line here, so actually I just kind of retract what I just said. However, you can see that there is a bit of a drop off here. There hasn't been price action. Here's one thing that you could say. You could say it like this. There hasn't been price action below this level. There's been an absence of price action since this consolidation, right, where the market was in a good agreement of what the price should be for Ethereum, 2,000 exactly. There hasn't been that in a while, so Ethereum likely to go ahead and slice through that, right, and find support here, and then make a move higher and kind of experiment and test around these new boundaries here, right? That's kind of what I'm looking at for Ethereum. Ethereum definitely one of the ones that if you're looking for an alternative to Bitcoin, maybe you're very well exposed to Bitcoin, Ethereum is definitely one that investors are going to be turning to for an alternative investment in the crypto industry. 100% that is going to be the next best investment in a lot of investors' eyes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of the news. I've got a very, very bullish headline here for you guys for the bros, but let's get into a little bit more of the comments here. Let's see. C90FTW said, is your favorite chips Lay's? You wear pleated khakis on the daily. Okay, if your favorite chips are Lay's, you wear pleated khakis on the daily. So I don't wear pants at all. I'm just going to leave it there. Randomness said, Runway, I'm going to run it up. I can't wait to DCA next paycheck. Okay, so if you're new to crypto, you're hearing very bullish bulls in the chat, right? These are folks who have been in for a while, and they have probably a different mentality from you if you're new. You're seeing price of these assets shoot down, and you're like, I'm full of fear. Is Bitcoin real? Are people? Did something happen to crypto? Or was there a hack? Right? No. The thesis hasn't changed for Bitcoin, right? The difference now is that market participants' trading psychology has been altered, right? There's just not as much of a reason to buy today when there's an anticipation of price levels that will be lower tomorrow, right? If you go to the grocery store and you're about to go buy a bag of chips, but one of the and this would never happen, but one of the attendees comes up and says, "Hey, those chips are about to go on sale tomorrow." You might just say, well, I live pretty close. I'll just come back and buy these chips tomorrow. It's kind of a crude analogy, but you kind of get my point. And that's what's happening in the Bitcoin market right now, is the technical analysts like myself. I'm an amateur technical analyst, right? But I'm looking at the charts. Other analysts are looking at the charts and saying, Bitcoin for a lot of different reasons that I haven't shown at all. I've shown some reasons, but for a lot of reasons, Bitcoin needs to go lower. And this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to go lower. So why buy today? And this is why price is going down. Why buy today here at 41,200 when I have a pretty good feeling the price is going to go down lower, and that's where I'll buy it, right? And that's what causes a bounce, because a lot of buyers are thinking the same thing. I'm not going to buy today. I'm going to wait and get it at a lower price. Okay. Now, that's what I'm betting the trade psychology is, right? Because when I buy down here, that's the bet that I'm taking, that a lot of other folks are thinking that way. Now, how can I validate that? I can look on Twitter. I can look in the chat right now and see a lot of people are thinking that way, right? Randomness just said, I'm going to DCA with my next paycheck. Folks are anticipating buying more of this asset because ultimately there is a big event coming up that is a close to certainty that will cause Bitcoin's price to go up, and along with it, a lot of other crypto assets. You'll notice that I'm speaking to the noobs today, and I hope that they are grateful. All right, let's keep moving here. Let's get into this. Let's go ahead and get into this bullish story. Got an inside guy in the chip, said French Toaster. That's right. There's probably some apps in big cities that track prices and can help you anticipate that. Bitcoin-based digital art image Genesis Cat sells for $250,000 in Sotheby's auction. Absolutely insane. Let's get into the details. The image was a special edition one-of-one piece by Taproot's wizard artist Francisco Alacron. Featured as part of a broader sale of ordinals inscriptions by Sotheby's, the auction started on January 12th and concluded on Monday. So it concluded just yesterday. If you're watching Tuesday, the 23rd, the sale price for Genesis Cat was more than 12 times the estimated $15,000 to $20,000 for the lot, and comes after Sotheby's last month sold 3 pixelated images from the Bitcoin Shrooms, no affiliation with T-Shroom, follow me on Twitter, collection for a combined $450,000. The eye-popping numbers from these ordinal inscriptions, sometimes referred to as NFTs on Bitcoin, have drawn comparisons to the NFT frenzy that consumed the Ethereum blockchain a few years ago. So guys, what is going on here? Bullishness. Buying. And I don't want to take the time to get into the technical details of what an inscription is, but this is very bullish, right? People are still buying and paying a lot of money, paying a premium, an unprecedented premium for inscriptions on Bitcoin's blockchain. It's very bullish, and it just continues to give folks like me and folks like Randomness in the chat and others in the chat, that bullish confidence that we need in order to continue to be hodlers, right? And keep our diamond hands strong. let's keep moving here because the bullish news doesn't stop there. Eric Balkanis, right, who's kind of been our guide, right, our guru of the Ethereum, of the ETFs through this whole saga that we're now on the other side of. He's got a tweet. He said, IBIT, which is the iShares BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF, is now 7th in year-to-date flows among all ETFs, wildly young to be anywhere near this list of old dog cash vacuum cleaner ETFs. I love that wording. Will be interesting to see how long it can hang here. FBTC also in top 10. So you can see here that it is true. IBIT is number 7. And of course, these other, the QQQ is one that I recognize, that is the NASDAQ ETF. Now, this might be very confusing to you if you're new to crypto and to investing. Basically, this means, what does this mean? How to interpret this? Basically, this means that a container that contains a lot of Bitcoin, they take that container, the Wall Street does, BlackRock does, and other banks. They take that container and they say, hey, you want to buy some paper on top of this, and that paper represents, if you buy it, that represents that you own some of the Bitcoin here in this container, right? And people are doing that like mad. They're doing it to the same level that they buy that paper, that representation of the NASDAQ. Inside of the container for the QQQ are all of the NASDAQ shares, right? You could imagine. So they're buying paper on top of paper. At least with the Bitcoin ETF, you're buying paper on top of actual spot Bitcoin. Okay, that was a somewhat good analogy. I think I give myself a C+ for that analogy. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that was a good analogy, or could you come up with something better? The takeaway here is that Bitcoin is competitive. Folks are just as eager to buy Bitcoin this last week, post Bitcoin spot ETF approval, as they are to buy everything that usually Wall Street buys, which is the NASDAQ, bond ETFs, growth ETFs, and all of that. So let's keep moving here. I've got another bullish tweet here from Lark Davis. He said, hot take, Grayscale can't sell forever. When they are done, then the market will be free to pump to Valhalla. Absolutely. So there's been a lot of talk around Grayscale. Our whole episode yesterday at 3 p.m. was basically about that. My 9 a.m. show was basically about that. And what does that mean? Well, Grayscale is kind of responsible for a lot of the sideways movement. I would argue responsible for a lot of the sideways movement after the 10th. Okay, so we have January 10th. In case you guys didn't guess what this move up on, I think I was asking the question about Tron, but January 10th, we had a big run up, and it was indeed ended up being a sell the news event, but not for the reasons that the market initially thought. It's a sell the news event because FTX sold a bunch of their GBTC, which is paper on top of Bitcoin, right? It's a representation of a trust in that case that contained Bitcoin. You were buying an not an ETF, a trust paper representation of that Bitcoin, right? And FTX went ahead and sold, I think, all of it, which was close to $1 billion, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then a lot of other investors as well went ahead and sold that GBTC. Well, when they did that, that caused downward pressure in the Bitcoin market. There was a lot of selling all at once, and it wasn't met with buying, right? That's the definition of supply and demand here in the asset markets, and that caused a downward movement. Well, that hasn't stopped. Now, what I would say here is that the penetration through 41,200, getting that daily candle below there, I think that is a little different. I think that's now market participants outside of the GBTC narrative. GBTC got us down here, or it's what kept us from launching, right? Because there was more selling than buying. But now I think we are seeing just the wider crypto markets, active market participants going ahead and dumping in anticipation of lower prices, of discounts, anticipation of discounts, right? They're at the checkout line with a bunch of chips, and then the cashier says, these chips are about to be cheaper in a week when we have these on discount. And so they're like, I'm going to go put all these chips back, and I'm going to come back in a week when things are cheaper, right? And maybe that makes sense to you. Hopefully it does. Now, I've got a couple of charts here for you. One of them is the rainbow price chart indicator, and I'm going to make this quick because ultimately there's an important level that's kind of coming up here, at least according to this chart, that we have actually sliced through already, okay? And that is that 38 it's so hard to use this chart. I'm not even going to do it, but you can see, you can see we're entering back into the fire sale is this deep blue color that we're entering back into on the rainbow chart. And historically, this is exactly what I've been saying. It's been the theme of this whole show. That is discount. That is a discount zone. Okay. Now let's get into something that's a little bit. I wouldn't say this is a bearish, right? But this is going to help us understand more. I gave you some levels, but I'm going to give you the why behind those levels. In addition to just the resistance that I showed you before. The mass unwinding of bullish perpetual futures leads to a negative basis identified by sub-zero funding rates. Negative basis or funding rates represent a situation where perpetuals trade at a discount to the underlying asset's price, indicating seller dominance. For me to be convinced that we reached the local bottom, I would want to see high volume prints with negative perpetual basis. So how do you check the perpetual basis? Well, you have to have something like a Blowfin account to look at the perpetuals markets. Yes, you can access those markets in other places, but if you click in the description of our video that is live right now that you're watching, or you're watching it maybe not live, you can actually go into the description and you can set up a Blowfin account in America or other countries that require you to KYC. You can set that up right now, and that is going to help you get on the road, here it is in the description, to checking out the perpetuals markets. Now, this is a market, use the code BROZ. This is a market where you can actually leverage trade, right? So you can do a 2x trade, you can go up to some crazy levels. If you're new to crypto, be very careful. Be very careful with leverage trading, but this is a way that you can capitalize off of having an edge, an intellectual edge in the markets, right? And that's with Blowfin. So ultimately, guys, I have one more thing to show you here as we wrap up the show, and that is going to be the Fear and Greed Index, right? The Fear and Greed Index is showing exactly neutral right now, which is actually pretty good. If we were coming down this low that we are in Bitcoin, if we were having such a massive discount so quickly, but the Fear and Greed Index was still in positive, that would mean that we have a ways to go, right? And that could mean that we could go down to 25,000. 25,000 per Bitcoin. The fact that we're at 50,000, 50 now on the Fear and Greed Index, but we are already pretty well sold here on Bitcoin, meaning the discount is already fairly steep. We're almost to the first level of support, kind of that I'm paying attention to, and not too far away from the second, deeper level of support, is encouraging. Because probably what's going to happen here is that Bitcoin is going to dip in, the Fear and Greed Index is going to dip into fear. And by around that time, right, there's going to be the price action moving to these levels. That will be a good coincidence, a good coincidence, right? That will give me and other investors the confidence to go ahead and buy in here where others are fearful, right? Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And it makes sense to me. So hopefully that makes sense to you all. All right, I said I had a funny clip here, and I do. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's take a listen.
But Vivek is great. He's really great. But he wanted this, and I'll give him full credit for it. It's very important, actually. I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
All right, that's about it. So that's it's a little bit fun, a little fun there towards the end of the show here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will say I didn't put a very good bow on top of this story here. Mainly, what you're wanting to look for when you set up that Blowfin account is you're wanting to see a difference between what the perpetual contracts are selling for, right? A difference between that and the spot price of Bitcoin. If the perpetual contracts are lower, that means the future price is being estimated as lower for Bitcoin, which means capitulation. That means fear in the market has set in, and that's kind of around the areas that you want to buy, right? In coincidence, in confluence with high volume, right? Once that high volume comes in, that's a kind of a confirmation of the bottom. That is the answer to when bottom. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm T Shroom, live every single weekday at 9 a.m. Now make sure you guys go tune into Piper Academy. He's going to be diving much deeper into the charts. Make sure you watch that video about Solana because that's going to be a pretty good digital asset for the bull run, and it is on discount just as much as Bitcoin is, if not more. Definitely more today. So go ahead and check out that video from Tim. And also do me a favor. If you have invested or you have traded in crypto in 2023, which if you're watching this video, you probably have, you want to head on over to decrypted.tax. Decrypted.tax is offering a free 60-minute consultation. You just go ahead and you book now, right? You set that up and you tell Ernest, right, who's the person you're going to talk to. He's the tax pro. He's also a tax attorney over there. You tell him that we sent you here at Investing Bros, and you're actually going to get 25% off. So that's right. Go over to decrypted.tax and get that sorted out today. Now, you want to get a jump on your taxes as we're getting into tax season deeper and deeper so that you can get your head around exactly what's going on. It's a great way to take advantage of that free 60-minute consultation. Figure out what's going on with your taxes now that you're invested, now that you're trading in crypto, and you're going to be on the path to prosperity and peace of mind. Decrypted.tax. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got CVO joining the show. Thank you so much. We'll see you then.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.